Joining me right now, Texas Ag Commissioner Sid Miller. Commissioner Miller, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Hey, I'm just dandy, Chad. Good to be back with you.
Good. Glad to have you back on the show. You reached out to me on Friday of course, this past week. You were in the spotlight from both Texas Tribune, a lot of talk shows, and from an interview with KUT, where they were talking to you about fake news, your social media, and you had quite a few quotes that made headlines not only here in Texas but nationally as well. When we spoke Friday, you had raised an issue about that interview with KUT News, and I want to go ahead and let you kind of explain what you told me.
Well, they didn't. Of course, KUT's a public radio station, and when they aired the interview, they edited it, and they didn't air everything that we'd talked about. And I thought they left out one of the most important parts in the fact that I said, I strive to only post, stories that are true and correct. If I suspect that one of those posts is false, I don't put it up. Then every once in a while, like everybody else, I get duped on Facebook. I put something up, but if somebody points that out to me, I immediately take it down. They tried to make it look like I didn't care what I put up. Of course, I strive real hard and, to put up positive pieces and if things that are thought-provoking, and they don't talk about how I honor the veterans every day, that died for our country. I post multiple of those up every evening and talk about the history lessons that I put up and all the positive stuff we put up. So I thought it was disingenuous. But this whole fake news thing, really, the big picture is it's the liberals trying to drive the train to claim that Trump is not legitimate. They want to blame fake news. I mean, you've got Hillary Clinton leading the charge, saying fake news has caused, her to lose the election. And, I mean, she's the one that talked about being under sniper fire, and she's the one that blamed the video on Benghazi. I mean, talk about the queen of fake news. But it all comes right out of Saul Alinsky's book, where he says, accuse your opponent of what you're doing. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to make this election look illegitimate and claiming fake news. Of course, we know that the liberal media and the liberals are the ones that push fake news.
Well, and I'll say this, I mentioned this on the show, Commissioner, that I do think that this whole the entire fake news issue is being overblown, but at the same time, it doesn't help when we've got people on the conservative side who do post fake news. And then, Commissioner, I want to point out a couple of quotes that you had in this. You said, and this is from the KUT report, you said 150 posts a week. I'm not going to research every one of them. If it's thought-provoking, I'll put it up there and let the readers decide. Everyone that reads that is a grown-up. It's like Fox News, I report, you decide if it's true or not. That's not what the news does, though. That's not what Fox does. They don't put up a news story and let people decide, whether it's true or not. And, one of the stories that I know, and you had an issue with the Tribune going through and only picking out, 10 or 11 posts. One of those posts was about you posting online that there was an Islamic compound outside of Houston. As an elected official, if I see Greg Abbott post something that there's an Islamic terrorist compound outside of Houston, shouldn't that make all voters, take pause and go, oh my gosh, there's a compound? I mean, shouldn't you research that type of story before you post it?
Well, here's the deal. I've got 3 emails after that article came out. One lady basically said, I know where that compound is. I've seen it. Come down here, I'll show it to you. So, when people...
So you're saying there is a compound?
Well, there may or may not be. I'm just telling you that I got emails after that article came out and said, I know right where that is. I've seen it. I can show it to you.
But as a statewide elected official, you should know this. I mean, you're a statewide elected official. Is there an Islamic terrorist training compound outside of Houston?
I have not seen it. No one. When I posted that, No one said, hey, that's fake, that's not true. But I did have several comments on that post. Hey, I know where it is. We need to do something about that. I've seen it. So
is that something you would post today?
I'm going to have to be a lot more careful now that I'm in the spotlight. Especially, when I posted that, I wasn't in the national spotlight.
But you are an elected official, and you were at that point.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I'm a lot more careful now. So, yep, I'd probably rethink that one.
What is when you did the interview with KUT News? What was the part
Chad? I'm not even sure that I was an elected official when that was posted. Some of those went all the way back to 2014. I didn't take office till 2015.
But it was on your campaign Facebook page, correct?
Right, but that one I think was before I was an elected official.
Okay, but you were still running. I think this, and this is someone who does a radio show, does an opinion show, whether it's an opinion show host or whether you're just someone in public. You got to be careful what you post out there, because too many times people take that as what they see online is that's gospel. And
I would agree. I would totally agree with you. I totally agree. But then I would also like to add, people need to take Facebook with a grain of salt. Everything on there is possibly, might not be 100% accurate, but it is Facebook. It's not the encyclopedia or the Wikipedia. So use a little judgment when you're reading that stuff.
What were there any other parts of the KUT interview that you believe was edited or cut out?
Well, they didn't really talk about that they pulled 10 posts out of probably 10 or 15,000. That's one less than 1%. I'd say that was pretty good screening. Maybe not 100% screening, but not bad. I mean, I post probably 20 times, 30 times, 50 times more than any other statewide elected official. I mean, it's a medium for me to get the word out there, to keep the public informed. It's a way that I've never been politically correct. I speak my mind, and we get comments and we engage, and I think it's a great way to keep the public informed and keep the public engaged as to what's going on in the political world. And we also use it to honor our veterans.
Sure.
Too.
Absolutely. I know you post jokes of the day, and you post different inspirational. So you post a lot of good stuff on Facebook. No one's saying that you don't. We did have a drive-by caller who was wondering if on the training camp post that you made, and you still say that you don't know if there is a training camp outside of Houston. Did you ever contact, or anyone in your office contact law enforcement to ask them?
No. I really didn't, and that was not an original post from me. That was something that I had shared, that had been already shared probably 1,000 times. I mean, it wasn't like I was the originator of that and put it out there. It was all over the internet and the Facebook. So it had been around a while before I got to it.
Let me flip gears before I let you go, Commissioner. I've always got to ask you every time you're on the show. And since there hasn't been all the slots have not been filled in the Trump cabinet yet, you hearing anything? Have you been contacted by the Trump administration? Have you been summoned to the Golden Tower?
I haven't been up yet, but the rumor is, the scuttle this morning is that he's looking at Senator Heidi Heitkamp from North Dakota, a Democrat, which will, I'm sure, ruffle a lot of feathers, especially in rural parts of the country. But politically, probably a smart move on his part. If she would resign that Democrat seat, Trump won that state by double digits, won it big, so almost be a shoe-in to take over a Republican Senate seat. He could leave her in there until she messes up, and then kick her to the curb, and probably put someone else in there in 12 months, 18 months.
What kind of impact do you think that would have, a Democrat being in that slot? Would that have on the state of Texas?
Well, she's been actually pretty decent. I mean, she was with rural America on most things, but I think it's going to upset, the Tea Party, the conservatives, which is the Republican Party, that he would give any slot to a Democrat.
Commissioner Sid Miller, appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad.
Have a good one. That's Commissioner Sid Miller here on the Chad Hasty Show.